Hello there, welcome back. And this is slightly rebranded, as we've noticed. I've actually finally changed my channel name to Nerd World Empire, which I have been using as a hashtag to connect all of my different platforms together for a while, and realised none of them, except for TikTok, are actually called Nerd World Empire. So, there's a piece of information. Next piece of information: like, share, subscribe, comment down below, join a discussion about how awesome this next ship is, and one I'd forgot existed. I've recently been watching Star Trek Enterprise, as I pretty much cycle between watching various different Star Treks constantly, and I've recently been watching Enterprise, and I like season 4 of Enterprise, and I watched the episodes involving, Affliction and others, which are about the Klingon augments. Really like those episodes. Has the launch of the NX-02 Columbia in it, but what I also noticed was the Klingon ship, and that is Lanteth's ship, some kind of small Klingon assault craft. So let's get talking about this ship. Now, there isn't, as usual with some of the vessels I'm now starting to get to, a great deal of information about this ship available, but what we do know is it was Klingon. It was vaguely reminiscent of a bird of prey, but was considerably smaller. It seemed to be armed only with disruptors, although it may also have carried torpedoes. It was a small ship which could be operated by a very light crew of perhaps 5 Klingons or less, although it was designed to carry a crew of between 15 and 20. Like the bird of prey or the scout vessel, it was a light, nimble ship with a generally bird-like aesthetic, with, again, similar to Romulan ships, I should point out, a sort of feathering of the Aztecing on the hull to give it a sort of bird-like appearance. Unlike many Klingon ships of the time period, though, it didn't have a great deal of outrigging to enhance its structural strength. The vessel relied instead on speed and maneuverability to keep one step ahead of its prey. This vessel was used in an attack on the NX-01 Enterprise, where the Klingons would board the ship, sabotage it by installing a Klingon algorithm that would ultimately cause an overload in the ship's engines, destroying the ship. An unusually cowardly attack for Klingons, but this episode, spoilers, does give the reason why Klingons in the original series in the 23rd century didn't have cranial ridges, while Klingons in the 22nd and 24th century did. I'm not going to spoil it, but this episode actually explains it, and it also gives some other consequences to and explanations as to some of the reasons why the Klingons had slightly different personalities, and why an attack like this the Klingons would attempt, but they wouldn't just directly attack the ship like they normally would. The vessel did not participate in the defense of the Klingon colony, which was under attack for basically being the harbinger of doom for the Klingon Empire and creating a plague that was killing off the Klingons. Again, I'm not going to elaborate on that because it's connected to the reason why the Klingons don't have the cranial ridges. But the ship itself, some behind the scenes, because there's very little lore in it. It was equipped with pulse disruptor cannons, it had transporters that were warp capable. That's it. That's pretty much all we know. We never see the interior of the ship or particularly learn anything about it. What we do learn is more the intention of why this ship and why they didn't just use a regular conventional bird of prey. The reason was they wanted it to not be obvious immediately that this was a Klingon ship, although to me it was obvious because it looks like a bird of prey. It looks like a bird of prey from the 23rd century, which does make me wonder if this class of vessel was more what was going to evolve into that ship. It looks aesthetically considerably more like it, although it does have a sort of malformed forward section, which is a bit more in common with the Klingon Raptor. But yeah, they wanted it to look not as much like a Klingon ship. In universe, there's no explanation for that. That's an out-of-universe explanation for some of the design choices of the ship. But it basically, to me, was obviously a Klingon vessel. It's a nice little ship, well armed, surprisingly powerful, and when manned by genetically superior and enhanced Klingon augments, was a lethal opponent for any adversary, even the mighty, by this point massively refitted and experienced crew of the NX-01. So there we have it. Again, short video because there isn't a great deal of lore in this thing, and I don't, as I repeat often, do not use beta canon sources, so I'm going purely off what we know about this ship. Starfleet would not encounter the vessel again, to my knowledge and did not gather any more information on it, which does make me hypothesize that perhaps this ship was a prototype or a custom vessel for the use by these augments. Maybe one they designed themselves and wanted to use, or it could be some kind of light Klingon assault vessel that Starfleet simply never ran into again because it was decommissioned. Who knows? But we never see it again. And there we go then. Klingon Augment ship.
I just want to take this moment to thank you for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, please check out my social links in the description box below to Instagram and Twitter and others, and also is down there a link to my Patreon page where you can support this channel and the others as I try to grow this franchise and do this more regularly. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye bye.